Shinies. People will hunt endlessly for a different colored Pokemon. Why, you may ask? It's about rarity. It's about the collection. Most importantly, it's because of how cool these colors look on that Pokemon. But what about these times the colors didn't exactly look appealing? What about when the difference wasn't even noticeable? Well, today, I'll be showcasing what can be done to improve those Shinies. Hey guys, how's it going? It's Infernoman again. Welcome back to another video, and today I will once again be showing you the shiny alterations that I designed for 3 separate Pokemon and their evolutions. I'm planning to do more videos like this, so if you'd like to see me do more, drop a like on this video and let's get right into the Shinies. The first shiny line I wanted to alter was one that kept me motivated to make this video. If you watched my video from last week where I ranked my top 10 favorite Pokemon from Johto and gave them a grade based on their shinies, then you might recall the things I had to say about Shiny Crobat. This is one of those shinies where you either see it as good or bad. There's no in between. However, I absolutely hate this shiny, and it was one of the lowest graded shinies in the video, with a D-. Since I have so many reasons to dislike this shiny, I decided it would be the first in line to be changed. I mentioned before that while many people aren't fond of lime green shinies, I don't mind them. While this version keeps Zubat and Golbat the same, I decided to apply their colorations to Crobat. As you can see, it looks a little odd when you see it at first, but when you really think about it, it looks pretty good next to the other two. I really think they should have changed Shiny Crobat to match Zubat and Golbat in the first place, and in my opinion, it looks much better. However, there are a couple of other designs I made. The next idea I had was to just flip the color scheme on all 3 Pokemon. While Zubat and Golbat are blue on the outside and purple on the inside of their wings, they now have swapped those colors, making a purple shiny with hints of blue. Since Crobat already has the swapped color scheme for its normal colors, I flipped the switch again and made it match with regular Zubat and Golbat, just with a lighter tint of blue. Last but not least, the final shinies I came up with, in my opinion, make up the best set of changes for this line. I had originally thought of making all 3 of them look black, as an ode to the generic colors of bats that you see in cartoons and movies. However, after I had thought about it for a very long time, I have named my Zubats Zubatman, which might sound familiar to you guys from someone else, but trust me, I came up with it before I even watched his videos. I thought it would look even cooler if it had a similar yellowish color to Batman's featured on his classic utility belt, and man am I glad I tried this. As you can see, all 3 of these shinies look really good with this coloration. I was not disappointed in the slightest to see the inside of the wings on these Pokemon stand out amongst the black while still looking very cool. Slipping away from the Zubat line, the next line of shinies was actually one I had meant to do in the last video, but unfortunately I ran out of time. Since I had plenty of time to fit it in this time around, I was more than excited to get into designing it. The line I'm referring to is the Gastly line. If you're familiar with the shiny Gastly line, then you're more than likely aware that shiny Gastly has a very great shiny, and then it rapidly goes downhill from there, with the exception of the Mega/Gigantamax forms. Gengar's shiny is among the ranks of shiny Garchomp. While it is more noticeable and changed when in comparison to shiny Garchomp, it still could be massively improved. It basically becomes a shade of black that isn't very distinctive from regular Gengar, and I'd love to see it become very, very unique. While it still isn't that different from normal Gengar, the first one I went with matches shiny Gastly's purple coloration. But since I didn't want to seem like a hypocrite, I changed the eye color to be a bright yellow that will definitely make it stand out next to regular Gengar. The next alteration I went with has the same concept as the second one I did for Garchomp in the last video. Sometimes Mega Evolution shinies look a lot different than the Pokemon they're Mega evolving from. And while Mega Charizard X gets an excuse because its regular coloration matches shiny Charizard, Gengar and Garchomp's Megas have great shiny colorations that I wish could be applied to the other forms in their evolutionary lines. Since I already did that with the Sinnoh region pseudo legendary, I did the same for Gengar. For Gastly, I decided changing its body wouldn't have much of a purpose for this coloration, so I kept it the same. For the cloud of smoke that surrounds its body, I changed it to a gray that represents what will become white later on down the line. For Haunter, it has the simple change of changing its body color to white to match Mega and Gigantamax Gengar, and I think it looks pretty sick. For the grand finale, I changed Gengar to almost completely match the coloration of its altered forms, including the gray colored eyes, which is why Gastly keeps the black body. The final design I went with was a completely random design that isn't based on anything, but I still came up with it and really loved it. I thought about changing the purple of shiny Gastly by making it more red, and changing the darker blue smoke to be more of a light blue, which I think it looks really nice, and it basically goes uphill from here. Haunter gets a ruby colored body that definitely does justice to the old shiny and really makes it stand out way more. Finally, I repeated this process for Gengar, but turned its eyes turquoise, which I only noticed shortly after looks very similar to shiny Genesect. I think I did a great job for these shinies, and I really think Game Freak could have used all three. The final Pokemon I decided to alter will be much quicker to explain because it only has one form in its line, and that Pokemon of course is Komala. Shiny Komala desperately needs a different shiny. I've always viewed Komala as the most forgettable Pokemon of the 7th generation, and the only thing that makes me sadder than that is the shiny they chose for this poor Pokemon. Shinies are popular for the way the Pokemon itself is distinct in color from its original form, giving people a reason to hunt for them. Unfortunately for our koala-based friend here, the only difference made to its colors is seen on the log it holds. Two possible things that come to mind when seeing the shiny are either A. Game Freak was very lazy with the shiny, or B. There was a disruption in the code, causing specifically Komala's shiny to act up and only change the color of the log, which seems highly unlikely. For the first alteration I went with, I thought about the second possibility and wanted to test out some colors to see what were possibly the original shiny colors for the actual body of Komala. The first option here is that it was all meant to be pink, so I did exactly that. The shiny looks much better when completely pink, and it feels really good to see Komala getting the shiny justice it deserves, but this isn't where it stops. The second color I experimented with is yellow. The primary pink shiny Pokemon in Alola that comes to mind is the Jingmo line, and along with the pink comes a mustardy shade of yellow. I thought maybe since this shade of pink is kind of close to the pseudo-legendaries, I applied the yellow to our friend Komala, and I'd like to see one of you try to convince me that this looks bad in the slightest. I also darkened the pink a little bit on the stump to bring out the yellow a little bit more, and I definitely would hunt this Pokemon if its shiny looked like this. The final coloration I gave to Komala leaves the stump to be the normal colors, while changing the scheme of Komala itself. I was thinking about the different categories of color that we've seen on shiny Pokemon, and it's kinda disappointing to see less purple representation than a lot of other colors, including the generic pinks and lime greens you see in the early gens. This inspired me to give Komala this coloration, which is the first and only shiny coloration I have made in this video that looks solid enough to believe that it's the real shiny. All of these alterations I have made are basically what I would love to see, but this one really makes me want to have it in the game. Well guys, those are the shiny alterations formed in the fantastic mind of one Infernoman. Once again, if you are at all interested in this series, let me know by clicking that like button. I left the link to my Twitter down in the description below, and I will be taking suggestions for shinies on there, so make sure you follow me so you know when that happens. While we're on the subject of adding me on things, consider subscribing if you're new and ringing the notification bell so you can be notified by future uploads on my channel. That's going to do it for this video, so this is Infernoman burning out, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Goodbye.